Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the FRO Radio. Today I'm on my own, it's a solo episode today, and today I'm going to talk to you all about personal branding as a student and why it is so important and sort of like how it has become so much more important these days with like LinkedIn, things like that. We're just going to talk about what it is because I feel like the word is thrown around a lot and not many people actually know what it is. I didn't know what it was until like a few months ago either. So I'm going to share that with you, and then we're going to talk about how you can actually go on from this episode and start to do it yourself and the importance of it as a FRA student. So first of all, what is personal branding? It's essentially the public profile that you create for yourself. This is primarily on LinkedIn because that is where these sorts of things like happen, whereas other apps like TikTok, well, any app basically is a public profile for yourself, but especially like the corporate profile, personal branding, is on LinkedIn. I think Instagram is also a little bit of that, but mainly what I'm talking about today is suited for the platform LinkedIn. It's essentially showing your value, sharing your opinions, what's going on in your industry, what you think of this, what you think of like X collaboration, things like that. And it's basically just speaking your mind, and it's showing people who you are and that you actually do have an opinion and you actually sort of think that this does work. Like, I'll use the marketing industry as an example because that's sort of where I am. So it's like, if a employer is looking at my LinkedIn and they see that I've commented on this collaboration, and they can see that, you know, I've really sort of like said that, you know, it's a really useful collaboration for the brand identity, awareness, things like that, they're going to be like, she really knows her stuff. And that's what personal branding is. It's a lot of people think that you can't have a personal brand like if you already have a job, but I would say that's definitely not the case. Like, first of all, if you are employed, you do never know like what's around the corner. But what I will say is have it if you're employed, but also have it if you're looking for a job, have it if you have a job, have it if you're a business owner, if you're a freelancer. It works for everybody. Like, a personal brand is for everybody. You don't have to be looking for a job to get one. I think why so many people are building their own personal brand these days is because of the opportunities that they can bring. I mean, first of all, if you are looking for a job, having a strong personal brand, you may be like scouted or headhunted for a job because someone's seen your post on LinkedIn, for example. I also think it could be like the deciding factor between you in a job. Like, if you're up against another candidate and it was between you two, and they then take a look at both of yours LinkedIn and yours is really strong and the other candidate's is not, I do believe like that is a strong deciding factor that it's more likely going to be you that is going to get that job, because you've shown your experience and you've shown that you're like not afraid to speak out and share your opinions and values. So that is also what it could bring, jobs. It could also bring opportunities like outside of your role. So you could be invited to like events to speak on personal branding. It's becoming such a big thing these days. Like, it's people's jobs to like help people grow their personal brand. So there is so many opportunities within personal branding, and starting your own is going to open you up to new connections, which are going to later on help you down the line. And that's why I think it's crucial for us students to do it, because the connections in the industry are absolutely key. It's likely how we're going to get a job. You know, we're all studying our courses now, but eventually we all do hope to go on to employment. And it is hard, like finding a job these days. And also, like, when you finish your course, you're finishing with thousands of other students around like the country. So there is only a certain amount of jobs to go around. So you do really need to make sure that you're standing out from the crowd. And I think that a personal brand is how you're going to do this. Okay, so now that we've like established what a personal brand actually is, essentially your own little profile that you create for yourself online that other employers can look at and get a feel for who you are as a person and as an employee. So once we've got that, it's then, right, let's actually start one of our own. So like I said, this is primarily like targeted at LinkedIn. So the first thing I would do is set up a LinkedIn. I'm sure you guys already have one, but maybe you don't use it. Maybe you don't know how to use it. I remember when I first got LinkedIn, I was really like blown away by how it worked. I didn't understand how it worked at all. But actually, it is very easy once you get your head around it. You essentially have connections, which is where essentially like friend requests. So you like connect or request to connect with somebody. And if they accept it, you are then a connection. But then you can also like follow people on LinkedIn as well. So maybe like more of the famous people who are on LinkedIn, they don't necessarily like have connections. It is more followers. I'm not too sure about like the difference between the connections and the followers, but the main thing is the connections, because that's when it's like you're asking to connect with someone and they're accepting it. The next thing I would do, sometimes it can be a bit daunting, like posting on LinkedIn. A lot of people think it's cringe and whatever. And I think if you're faced with that, that's just whatever. But this is how people get jobs these days. So if it's being a bit cringe on LinkedIn, like you just have to get over it. But if you're too nervous to start to post just yet, which I totally get, I would start to like repost and comment and like things, because that all shows up on your profile. So when someone like an employer is looking at your profile, and maybe you haven't got any posts of yourself, but they can see all the interactions that you've made on LinkedIn. So that's why you need to be careful about anything that you like and comment on, because it is a history and it's all going to be there. Someone's going to be able to look at it. It also, if you like something, it will come up on your connections pages that you like something or that you repost something and things like that. So beware what you like, just a heads up. So yeah, you can just start to share your thoughts. And like, for example, I did a post recently about like a collaboration that I think would be really good between the girls' bathroom, which I know is a very popular sort of topic amongst like the people who follow me or are connected with me, because we're students. A lot of your connections will be students. And I know that a lot of us students are fans of the Girls Bathroom podcast, and I suggested that a collaboration between them and Blank Street in 2025 would be so good, and it absolutely took off because it was exactly what my connections would resonate with. And that's sort of how, if you're over the cringe posting and you actually now want to start posting for yourself and actually posting some good stuff that is actually gonna get you connections, get you comments and reposts, then you definitely need to take a look at what sort of connections you're making. Like I just said, you'll be connecting with like other people here at the FRA. So you know what you guys have in common because you are your own target market. So you just need to think about what things you'd like to see on LinkedIn. And that's how I sort of start to like brainstorm ideas to post. Another thing, once you're sort of in the swing of like being okay posting, I would then suggest sort of starting like a bit of like a schedule where you are posting maybe once a week, maybe it's once every 2 weeks. It's whatever is actually realistic to you. Obviously, if you have a full-time job, you need to be doing that like outside of your work hours. So yeah, it might be once every 2 weeks. That's absolutely fine. I think it's just nice to have stuff on there like quite regularly, especially when we're students and we're like actively applying for jobs. If you have got nothing on your LinkedIn from like 6 months ago, I don't know, I'd recommend against that. I would definitely subconsciously, once you start applying for roles, start making the effort to do LinkedIn. Even if you just do it when you're applying for roles, you then get the role and then it sort of calms down a bit. That's absolutely fine, but definitely utilize LinkedIn when you are looking for a role after your course, because it is going to have a massive impact on whether you do get a role or not. Like I say, if I was an employer myself, I imagine people these days, as soon as you apply for a job, they do look you up on social media and now LinkedIn. If I had seen that they hadn't posted, they didn't have a profile picture, they hadn't posted since like 3 months, 6 months, like ages ago, I would instantly just be like, it's not who I'm looking for, especially in sort of like marketing. I know that's like a area a lot of you guys want to go in. And in social media, like, I mean, if you want to work in social media, like, you need to show the employers that you know how to use it. And LinkedIn is a great way of doing that. So I would definitely recommend from now on, after this episode, please go and do a little bit of like your own research on TikTok or even on LinkedIn. And as you start to connect or follow or like more things that are related to personal branding, the algorithm will just show you more stuff and you'll get to learn more about it. And I think I literally didn't learn about it until probably like the end of last year. And I've sort of it's gone like this. Like sometimes I'm like, yeah, posting on LinkedIn loads, and then like you just stop and you run out of ideas. That does happen often. So that's why it's important to sort of like not go 100% first, because it's just not sustainable. So like I say, set something up that is sustainable. For example, like from when I was in level 3, I used to spend my commutes just like on LinkedIn, and that would give me, well, maybe not just on the one commute, but that would give me like an hour, 45 minutes purely on LinkedIn, like commenting on things, like reading things, and it just keeps it active. So I would try and find, like, look at where you could fit some time in just to spend some time on the app, because you do learn a lot from it and you will connect with people. And also when you guys have people who come in for masterclasses and you have like project challenge projects with people, definitely always connect with them on LinkedIn, either after the project or during the project, because, and then especially when you're then connecting with them with an amazing profile, it's going to work wonders. And as time goes on, you could then reach out to these people. I think people look at their LinkedIn messages a lot more than like Instagram DMs or like emails, because you don't get many LinkedIn messages, I don't think. So I feel like people, like, there's no requests where it's so like Instagram. So like if they didn't follow you, you'd go into their request. That doesn't happen. Like you will instantly go into their DMs. So I think that LinkedIn is a really good way to actually reach out to some people. I don't know, I remember, well, on a recent episode with Isaac Perry, we spoke about LinkedIn, and he was saying that he had a friend in his degree course who was getting like these amazing quotes from like CEOs, head of marketings, like amazing high up positions, and they were all like gobsmacked of how this guy had managed to do it. And he simply did it just by LinkedIn and just reaching out to people, asking for help on their projects. And you'll be surprised at how many people would happily help you with their project, especially these people in such high positions, because they were you once. And I think a lot of them just want to like give back. So definitely push your luck or try your luck when it comes to reaching out to people on LinkedIn. But let me tell you, you will not get a response if your profile is completely inactive. It needs to have a profile picture. It's literally key. It needs to also have a little bit of a summary about you. Mention that you're a student, put all your education in there, post about your projects, how well you've done in them, what you've learned from them, post about, like I said, recent collaborations or like news that sort of like comes out in the marketing world. Like a lot of people like do a roundup of like all the collaborations this month, for example, or like all the latest news / trends that you need to know about. Start sharing that of your own. Like use LinkedIn as a tool to like be inspired and get inspiration. Don't necessarily copy people's posts, because that's not right, but definitely like see what works. But also I think, like I said earlier, if you like something, like you are your own target market. So start creating more of what you like to see. And maybe you're like, I don't see any posts talking about this, like X. So then you create that, and that's just how like you'll start to know what works on LinkedIn. You might then get like a few posts that like get quite a lot of impressions and comments and likes and things like that, and you'll just like start to figure out what works and what you enjoy posting as well. Like from like, I don't know how many months of posting on LinkedIn, like I don't really like to post about like news, really, as in like, I know I did the girls' bathroom pop-up, but that like sort of came from my imagination. Like I wouldn't probably comment on, I don't know, a recent collab. Like I remember when Blank Street collaborated with Sabrina Carpenter, that was all over my LinkedIn, but I just didn't want to like copy and paste it and post it on mine, just because it just, I don't know, I'd rather like think of my own posts. And I think that is more key. Like you don't want a super generic LinkedIn profile. You want things that you've totally thought of on the spot. And I think a lot of people are worried to post things on LinkedIn because they're scared of what people are going to say. And I just think like that is, no one on LinkedIn is going to like laugh or like take you down because you're trying, if you see what I mean. Like there's quotes that, you know, people say like a business owner would never like laugh at you for trying. Like the people who you want to target and you want to work with are not going to be the sort of people who are going to be like, oh my God, posting on LinkedIn, like that's so cringe. Like people that are saying that are the people you do not want to be with. So do not worry about that. Also, don't feel like just because you're a student you can't speak your truth because like you feel like you don't have enough experience. I just think there's a way of wording it. Sometimes in my posts I sort of say like, oh, I think this about, I remember I did a post about like email marketing, and I was like, I had some stats that I'd like read, and I was saying like, I can't believe that email marketing is like predicted to do well when I do not engage with email marketing, like as a Gen Z myself, like I don't have much experience in this area. Like, what do you guys think? And I don't think I got any comments on it, but like, I don't care. Like, it was just something to post so an employer can like look and see that I was interested in email marketing, and I admitted that I didn't have much experience, but I'm still happy to talk about it because I trust that like the knowledge that I have is good enough. You know, I trust what I've learned already in social media is like good enough to be able to speak on any topic, and I think that will come across, like your confidence will come across in your LinkedIn posts. So that's why it is crucial to start posting on LinkedIn and also build your personal brand. Like I say, this is what this whole episode is about, why you should build one and what one is. I think also something that I've recently done that I'm not really keeping up with, which I probably should be, is also having like a bit of like an online portfolio, like on Instagram rather than LinkedIn, because there's some things on LinkedIn that like, for example, I don't post any videos on there, or I don't know, it's just not always the best for, it's quite like neat corporate stuff, whereas like Instagram, it's a bit more messy. So I started like an Instagram and I posted things that I do like work-wise and things like that. So I'd highly recommend maybe doing both. I definitely don't keep up with the Instagram that much. It's like, oh, I will not go on it for like 3 weeks, then I'll have like loads of things that I need to like post. But I don't really mind about that. That's basically just for like when I do look for jobs, I can say, look, go on this page. Doesn't matter. I think I've like 80 followers. Like, I'm not there for the followers. I'm literally there to post. And when anyone can look on it and see what I've got up to and my experience. And that is, again, that is your building your personal brand, because you're showing people what you know and your skills. So I think that is going to be it from me today. I do have another episode, I think, all about personal branding again and some more tips. So I will link that somewhere. So I definitely recommend going to listen to that one, but this one is for you guys to watch. So I really hope you have enjoyed this episode. Please connect with me on LinkedIn or send me any messages if you have any questions. I would definitely like to answer them for you. So thank you very much for listening, and I will see you guys next week.